Hi everybody! Today I'm dropping in to talk about visualization. So visualization, it's easier to do than it is to say the word, is a good point to start off with. Visualization is an activity that I have been building on this season and this past season to help me with my performance in the arena. And through my coaching this season, I can also see that this is a good activity and a good training preparation tool that other riders can use to help prepare themselves for when we get in the arena when COVID-19 disappears next season. The visualization is the process of imagining yourself in a situation and then feeling what your emotions and your reactions would be. I use this tool for many different aspects of my riding and competing. I use it to help me memorize my dressage tests, thinking about how I'd prepare for each movement and how I'd ride each movement. I also use it to train positive thinking. So when I'm imagining myself and visualizing my dressage tests, I'm visualizing them going well so that I can think about them positively. Because it's very easy to get stuck in training or imagine all the bad things that could go in our dressage test. And so we feel that we take these emotions into our dressage test. So I use visualization to practice making sure that I have a positive idea of how the competitions are going to go. So I can use visualization. I can do it better than I can say it clearly for a lot of different activities. I use it for my training. So imagining how a training session with one of my horses is going to go before I go out to ride them. I also use it to help think about the activities and the exercises that I'm going to do to train them and how those will help each horse. I use it with my competitions for warming up, so it's what I do before I go and tack the horses up and get them ready. I visualize how the test is going to go and what I'm going to do, what my reactions are going to be if the horse decides that it wants to try and buck me off or spook or not go quite so round in certain movements. I also use it when I'm planning my dressage tests, my cross-country rounds, and my show jumping rounds to help solidify the plan in my mind. So for the show jumping rounds, thinking about the lines I'm going to take to get to each fence, how I'm going to set up, whether I'm going to ride those lines on a forward canter stride or a shorter collected canter stride, and where I'm going to be thinking for my turns, etc. like that. So, for visualization, here's my process that I go through for practicing visualization, for training myself to do it, and then making sure it's the most beneficial for myself. There's a whole lot of tools online about visualization. This is just my take on it. So firstly, I start by making sure I'm relaxed, that I'm taking nice deep breaths, and that I can clear my mind. So I'm not thinking about lollies, I'm not thinking about all the yards I have to muck out, I'm not thinking about the Auckland traffic that I'm going to have to tackle my way through. I'm simply have a clear mind where all I'm thinking about is my horse, what's the certain aspects of that horse, what I'm about to go out and do on that horse, so my dressage test or my show jumping round. And then I allow myself to close my eyes and put myself in that scenario. So for instance, if I was thinking about dressage champs, I would be imagining the dressage arena. The 3 judges spread around the dressage arena in their cars. My supporters and the competitors, the team managers, my parents and my coaches. All those supporters that will be dotted around the arena. This allows me to practice being in that big atmosphere sort of environment. And then I imagine my dressage test. I think about how I'm going to use those last few minutes trotting around the dressage arena, where I'll ride my halts, whether I'll canter around the dressage arena, if I'll do circles. And then I imagine the judge's bell or the car tooting. And this is a really important thing for us to practice because we find that when we imagine the judge's bell or the horn, We might feel ourselves go from relaxed to it's competition time. And we've got to keep in mind that if we have this tension suddenly appear, the horse is going to feel that as well. So we want to be able to practice trotting around the dressage arena in our minds, the judge's bell or the car horn tooting, and we maintain the same feeling we had before the bell rang. And then we ride through our dressage test. We think about our movements, how we will prepare for them, and what we will do for each horse within that dressage test. Because each horse has their own specific ways of being. So for instance, with my thoroughbred, I'm thinking about how I can be soft and keep her nice and soft and not push her to be an overactive, sassy, bucking mare in the dressage arena. So then we can use this out cross country as well. I can imagine my warm-up, what I would do with my warm-up, riding forwards, riding back, my approach to the practice fences, my plan with using the practice fences. And then I imagine that ride over to the cross-country start box, keeping in mind that each event has their own route that you have to take to get to the cross-country start box. So imagine that. I imagine for champs, we're crossing the bridge, walking another 500 meters till we get to the start box. It's away from the cross-country finish line and it's away from the warm-up. I imagine the timer person counting me down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I imagine kicking off and riding towards the first fence, thinking about how I approach each fence, what rhythm I have, what line I'm going to take, what it's going to feel like, thinking about if there's any environmental elements that I need to picture in my mind or deal with. And the important thing when picturing this is to stay positive. Imagine jumping each fence. What is it going to look like when you nail it? How is it going to look if you nail it? What are you going to have done? How are you going to feel? You know that high feeling you feel when you nail a really difficult cross-country combination? I want you to imagine that feeling, that mini yahoo moment you have in your mind. And then you're going to keep cantering around this cross-country course in your mind, imagining how you ride it, where you ride your lines, what approach you take, what aids you use with your body to prepare for the fences. And then you imagine cantering through the finish line and giving your horse a pat and celebrating. And we can do this for show jumping rounds as well. Same principle. You imagine your warm-up. What is your warm-up process going to do? How are you going to do the warm-up jumps? What's your order? Then we imagine riding into the arena. How are we going to show our horse the arena? What's our 30-second strategy for making the most of the time we have in the arena? What jumps do we need to show them? What signposts on the side of the arena do we need to show them? Do we need to practice riding forwards and getting the adrenaline up? Or do we need to practice a lot of can to halt, making sure that the horse is listening to us and in the hand? And then we imagine the bell ringing. We imagine the timer showing the countdown clock and starting our round. We think about our lines, our approaches, the rhythm and the striding that we have. So I hope this is helpful. This is definitely an activity that I'm going to keep using going forwards into next season, practicing so that I can use it to stay positive. Plan definite rounds where I have a solid plan of how I'm going to ride it, and ensuring that I can practice dealing with the emotions that I feel when I'm riding these rounds. So let me know in the comments, what did you think? Are you using this, and is this a tool that you're going to use in the future?